risk management today. Project risk management. Sorry, yes. So project risk assessment and management is the focus of our lecture today. I believe that talking about projects is not a new thing to us. Everybody, we are all involved in project management one time or the other. You know, as a professional in your office, you involve in a lot of projects, especially what we do as a communication officers or director. We do projects a lot. That is one way. Apart from that, at home, our family life is a project in one way or the other. There's projects in almost everything, not almost, in all things we do. And as a result, all professionals, everybody should go through a project management course one time or the other. Thank God for this opportunity in this course like this in CIPR. You know, the element of project management, project risk management and assessment has been introduced here. But at the end, I want to encourage you to look for course that can give you a deep all aspects of risk of management, project management. I've done one. I'm a member of risk management. Project management, international project management. So there's a lot of courses online that you can take free. Some for certification, you pay token. So I will encourage you to do this. Yeah, because what we are doing this morning is just an aspect of project management. We can't do everything. So this course this morning, we'll be looking at the following. The project risk management itself. We'll be looking at the steps, you know, in project management. I think I'm recording. I want to be very sure. Yes, I'm recording. So, okay, thank you very much, Howard, for that. We'll look at the project risk management itself, steps in project risk management. We'll be looking at risk identification. How do you identify risk in the project? Risk analysis, how do I analyze this? Then risk response, and also implementation of risk response. Then we'll look at the risk monitoring and the risk identification tools. This is the focus of today's lecture. You know, as I mentioned, this is not entire lecture about project management. Risk management is an aspect. It's just an aspect about, on risk, project management. We have a lot on project management, talking about finance, time management, personnel management, and so on and so forth. So let me ask in this class, how many of us have ever gone through a project management course? Anybody here? You can unmute and say yes or no, or you can just say no to the chat. How many of us have gone through the course on project management? Yes, that is me. I've said yes. You can chat. You can say, just type yes, no, yes, no. Okay, Victoria said no. Yes. Not yet. Okay, that is my friend. Ado. Is it Ado? Yeah. Yeah, I said no. Okay. Malandi says also no. So please, I will encourage you, maybe after this training, look for opportunity where you can have more idea about project management. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, in life, there's projects. There's risk in everything. Even as we are taking this course, it has some element of risk. You know, at home, we can meet risk. You know, look at what happened. You know, this madam from Ministry of Health, MOH, you know, trying to, you know, as an MP, trying to do away with intruder in his office or in his house, in a house or in our office. See what happened. You know, there's a risk even in trying to clear things around you. See what has happened. This is an illustration. Oh, who can tell us more? What can you see here about this picture you are looking at? Any other person? That's my little understanding about that. You can see risk there. Any other person what can you say about this picture you are looking at? Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. What
observation?
I'm seeing is that our Minister of Health is being trapped by the Ebola. This is Musenero, who lied to the country that she bought rats for testing Ebola, each rat at 8 million Uganda shillings. So now it's like the rat trap has got her. Like people are not seeing any vaccine.
So you can see, is an MP, I think in Uganda, as you mentioned. So you can see the risk in everything.
She's actually the Minister for Science and Technology.
And Technology, yeah, that's illustration. Thank you very much. You see,
to sell. If rats are on 8 million, I'm just saying I can sell rats for millions if they want rats.
Thank you. Any other observation on this picture you are looking at? Well, in conclusion, let's just move on. Is that anything you do, if you are not careful, the risk that that have been in that thing can cause a lot of damages to you. So the fact is this: you cannot say that there's no risk anywhere. Anything you do, even when you are eating chakula, there's a risk in that. That's the reason why when we are eating, you always have water by your side. And when you are eating, don't talk when you are eating. Don't do this, especially to the children. We say that a lot, so that you can avoid or prevent or to reduce the impact of risk. Are you getting me? So everything, this life is a risk itself. Do you know that? But that's the reason why we always have a kind of a check, a measure to reduce the impact of that risk in our lives. So, and the project we do as information professionals, as communication professionals, we deal with a lot of projects. We cannot run away from risk. The only way, what we are trying to teach you now, how can you reduce the effect of that risk when it comes? What is risk? Look at all these definitions given. Number one, according to this, the dictionary says, the risk is the possibility of loss or injury. The risk is what? Is possibility of loss or injury. According to the project management book, it's a project risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, affects at least one project objective. Every project has objectives. In communication, you want to launch a product. The objective of maybe public communication or public introduction of that project is for people to know about what you do. You want to advertise your project. Is for people to know, this product is available. Like this is a water. We have this also in Kenya, in East Africa, but you don't call it ever in East Africa. This is made by Coca-Cola. In East Africa, I think they call it, is it Danzi? I've forgotten the name again. Because the Sunning, it looks alike, the same bottle, but here in Nigeria, we call it ever. And it's one of the best quality water we have. Because Coca-Cola made image for a very long time. If anybody is traveling to Nigeria, maybe from abroad, they will prefer taking this instead of taking the local one because of the image they have made. But now, if somebody has taken this water and they have diarrhea or anything, it can destroy the image of Coca-Cola. And they will find a project that they can use to be able to reduce the effect or to take away the effect from them. So the risk deal with the uncertainty of the event that could affect the project. And that's the reason why by the time you are going to any project, communication, advertisement project, you must also itemize the possible risk. Because if you don't do that, and the risk effect comes to your project, it can destabilize, it can affect the objective of that project. But if you have taken a decision, you have put things in place, oh, this may happen, oh, this is what I'm doing. What if, the people, there will be traffic in Nairobi, and you have the program at maybe airport hotel, or a hotel close to the airport in Nairobi. So as a result, we should not take the down road. Let's take the new road up. Because the risk is that if you don't provide the transportation, maybe your target, they are students from the University of Nairobi, and the program is starting by 8 a.m. East African time. So you will know that in planning, you want these people to come on time, you must have provided the bus. Because if you don't provide the bus for them, and they are taking matatu, they will go through the other road and they will get there late. So part of the risk is that you are looking at the way, what can you do so that your program can be effective, so that your advertisement can be accepted, by everybody without having any fear or anything to say against your project. So these are the ways in risk management. It is the possibility of loss or injury. And also, according to the professional definition, project risk is seen as uncertain events or a condition or activity that affect at least one project's objective, if it occurs, or that has the capacity to affect your project. So that is the simple definition of project. Can you also give me any definition that what is a project? Anybody there? How will you define a project? Sorry, a risk. Risk. What is a risk or project risk? In your own words. Anybody? Yeah, I think I like calling it. Victoria, have you ever dealt with a risk before in a particular project you have done? Can you share your experience and what is risk? Nelson and Victoria, any of you can answer this.
Recently, like 2 days ago, we had a press conference, and our chairman, the chairman of the board, went off the rails and said that we had some damning information where he said that we operate with impunity because we are highly connected. So that got us a lot of publicity, negative publicity. And then after he thought about it, he recanted his statement, which made the journalist really mad. And now they are pushing the story as much as they can and spinning it however they wish. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. The journalists, they will always look for negative stories, negativity. That I don't know why. Which some of us were also involved in this. We are journalists. We are communication officers. Even when I write a story, I'm a blogger. I blog and I have a Twitter account which I put on. When I write a story, I always look at the negative one that is catchy. I don't know. That's what people want to listen to. So I think it's normal. So how did you now conquer that? Your communication office? What happened? How did you solve that problem?
He recanted the statement. So now we have to. Okay, our to go to is just to be silent. It's not a good crisis management. But for now, we are still waiting to see how it goes, because what shall we do? We try and push our stories on our about our products and our services just to counter that, but we are not going to address that particular story that most of the staff there are highly connected and they work with impunity.
Yes. Thank you very much. That's damage control. Yes, you try to do that, and that is where we in the communication, we in public relations, we have a lot of work to do. You know, you cannot put or push communication officers, public relation officers aside, or else you will lose. I will show you some examples. They're very popular examples as we are moving on. Is my friend has anything to say, experience to share? Before Nelson, I mentioned your name. You have, or you want to keep it to another time? Nelson. Thank you very much. Okay, good. Yes.
You asked about some of the risks that we go through, and I wanted to give an example.
Okay.
I work on a Total project. Total is engaged in oil here in Uganda, and in an area where we operate, like where the drilling is going to take place or is taking place, there are a lot of risks that bend towards the side of safety, especially safety of the local people. So the potential risk is anything that can easily harm or create an accident in the community where the drilling of oil is taking place. And then you realize that almost 80% of everything that we do has to be checked, especially on the side of safety. So what has happened? So what has happened is that almost I think like 70% of the efforts being put in place is to ensure that nothing happens in the community, and that's why they have promoted the slogan saying that there is nothing that is too urgent to be done unsafe.
Thank you very much. I love that example. Yeah, you can continue. Are you done?
No, I'm done. That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are you the one that asked about Fela's song?
Pardon?
Are you the one that asked about Fela's song? Talking about
yes. It was me.
I can see the connection. You know, this happens a lot in Nigeria. You know, Nigeria has been oil company for a long time. You know, and you can know Ken Saro-Wiwa because of not managing the risk of these oil companies. You know, it caused a lot of death. You know, and up to now, it's still causing a lot of problems. You know, and who manages risk? You know, I mean, the safety and so on. They are all connected. So thank you for that example. Ado is giving an example, not negative, but the man, Ado, what are you saying here? I can't read it well. Something's missing.
No, I was just reinforcing on the issue of, you mentioned journalists going for the negative, and I was saying that's not the deal. You know, I'm also a journalist by background. So I say journalists go for the dog, the man biting the dog, instead of the obvious of the dog biting the man.
Biting the man. Okay, yes. I understand. They want something that will sell, you know, something that people will want to read. You know, as a result, they can create some negativity. And you know, as a public relation officers, as communication officers, we have great task to deal with this. So let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah. I welcome other people that are just joining us. No, we are all 8. We are 8. We should be more than this. So any business, risk factors now, any business or any project have distortions, has challenges, and changes due to the influence of. We have things that can cause risk factors. We have external factors. We also have internal factors. As the name, the language is external factor. Which are continually changing. You know, at times we cannot control this. It is difficult to control external factors. For example, I gave you an example of you have an event and somebody is coming from Nairobi to the airport hotel. You know, you cannot control that there will be traffic, but you can do something to prevent that. You know, thank God that I was in Nairobi. I was happy that now you can go up, you can drive up on the bridge. You know, with that, you can get to where you are going on time. So you can control that. You know, internal factors which are due to the different changes that occur during the activity. When the activity is going on, there's some change that may come, you know, and which, you know, is you have the control because they are internal. It also can be risk factors. These influences lead to the emergence of risk and uncertainty. Life is uncertain. Life is uncertain. As we are living in this world, you can't run away from traveling, whether by air or by road. That's the reason when you are traveling by air, they will tell you that in case anything happens, some people will not listen to them. God forbid. They say, in Nigeria, they do this, God forbid. It will not happen. In case, use the oxygen, do this, because they know that flying is a risk. There's a risk factor in flying. Out on the road, use your belt. In case, these are the risk factors. The police will check, do you have fire extinguishers? Do you have torchlights? Because they know there's risk. There's risk in everything. So it can be internal and also it can be external. That is another point here. So let's move on. Okay. So we look at the risk are present, as I mentioned, in all communication and PR activity. Specifically, this course, risk management, it's applicable to all disciplines, whether you are a medical doctor or you are a lecturer, you are a librarian, you are a pastor or imam, anybody will have risk factor in whatever we do. But particularly, we want to look at the risk in PR and public communication activities. For example, in a bad reputation, there's tendency that, your organization has been portrayed, in a negative way. So as PR professional, as communication officer, we have big responsibility to be able to clean or to correct the reputation of our organization to make it right. That's the reason why organizations will be very careful how people are going online. What do you say about your organization on social media? Like I worked with KPMG some years ago, as a communication officer. So we have responsibility. If you are going on social media, Facebook, make sure that you have a clause that all the ideas, all the comments are not representing the organization, are my views alone. Because they know that you are working with maybe a bank, a Total, and you are posting something online. People may want to associate that comment to you, whether bad or good. So especially the bad one, according to a lecturer at the University of Nairobi or Makerere University, it says this. People will not look at you, Nelson. They'll be looking at that university in you. So repetition is very, very important. And we have big responsibility as PR officer or communication officer to enlighten or to educate the staff of the organization how they will not tarnish the image of the organization in public. Talking about the controversial public issues, at times maybe on politics. That's the reason why you can see CEOs, they will not comment on politics. They will keep quiet. Because, for example, during the last election in Nairobi, and some people are supporting Baba, some people are supporting the president now, the Dr. What's his name again? Sorry, apology. It's I've met him one-on-one, Dr. Ruto. Yes. And imagine the organization now, you went publicly and they said, Baba is the one, and now Baba has lost. It can affect the reputation, the standing of your organization. People may not even patronize the organization because of that. So in politics, organization need to be apolitical, to be neutral, as much as possible. That's the reason why you cannot see, you see that some companies, they will not use some people to advertise their products, especially the singers or the public person that have associated herself or himself with a political party. They will not use that person for advice. It happens in Nigeria. Maybe you all know about Davido. Davido is a popular singer in Nigeria. Davido's brother contested an election in Osun State. Osun State is like county. Nigeria, we use states. We have about 39 states, 36 states and federal capital. Davido's brother contested the election, and he was involved in campaigning, for this man. Some of the company that he is a brand ambassador had to remove him. They don't use him, like MTN, other organizations. Why? Who can tell us the reason why he has to be removed? He's a singer, he's a popular singer in Nigeria called Davido. And because he was highly involved in his brother's election campaign, some brands that he is ambassador to has to discontinue with him. It's very simple, because it will tarnish the reputation of that organization. They had to remove him. Now, looking at his sponsorship fund badge, it's part of it. Yeah, that last one I mentioned is use of celebrity in marketing and corporate events that go wrong. So that is one here. Then hyped product claim in marketing communication. There's some product, they will just hype it. They will tell us that this water, if you drink this water, you go to heaven. And you drink and you're not going to heaven. What will happen? It happens in Nigeria. Some churches are selling bottled water for about some millions of naira. Then they've prayed to the water, and when you take this water, you will not. It serves as a protection from being kidnapped, of being gunned. And if you are working for this organization and you are marketing this, and it happens that it's not happening, what will happen? So all this, we in communication, in public relations, we have a lot of work to do. That is the reason why any organization that refuses to equip their communication office, we really go down on them. They will go down. They will not excel. So, which other activities can you mention that we in the communication or PR we need to be careful about that I've not mentioned? Another one. Makandi. Any other one? Are you okay with this? Makandi, Howard, two of you. Anyone who can respond to this?
Yeah, maybe though you've alluded to this, getting partnerships or involved with organizations or personalities that can damage your reputation. Maybe you can get donor funding from a group or a company that is not it does not have the best reputation. It can damage the reputation of the organization.
You are correct. I love that. I omitted that. It's true. Especially you get grants, like some universities, don't go and get grant here. For example, maybe in the country whereby you are not supporting abortion and you're not getting grant from organizations that are supporting abortion, it could tarnish the name of that organization or institution. You are right, sir. Thank you very much. Maria, any example? Or Grace? Yes. What about the council, for council to senior managers or management? Yes.
I'd say sometimes there's an unanticipated risk. Sometimes, especially in Kenya, I have seen fake news on the internet. And so people can just pick on your organization, whether it's through a senior member or just generally, and just publish information that goes viral, and that can damage either a project or your reputation.
You're right. Fake news, that one is common now. And again, the competitors also make use of this so that they can demarket the other organization. It happens, like organizations, the noodles, Indomie, for example. There was a time that some people just brought fake news that, people, Indomie, particularly, it has poison. People are dying, and they show fake pictures of people that have eaten that food and they died, and it's a fake news. So the responsibility or the task lies in the hand of the communication officer and PR officer to really work and make sure that all is well. Even at times, some organizations had to go and rebrand their product, change the cover because of the damage that has been done. You know that? Yeah, it happens a lot. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now let's look at this now. Let's look at the types of the risk. Yeah, so risk can be categorized into 5 broad types. Number 1, we can have the compliance risk. That is conforming to government regulation or legal requirements. You know, so it's a risk if you refuse to conform, to make sure that you follow the government regulations. So you'll be asking, what is the work of the communication officers here? We also have a right, because if the organization failed to conform with the government regulation, the burden will be on you later to see how you can clean their sheets. You know, so it is very important that you are also like a watchdog. Make sure that you ask them, hope you are conforming, though you may not do much here because you are not in the management, but you are the one to be able to list what they need to conform with. Talking about the financial risk, making the organization to be vulnerable to poorly thought through financial decisions that could jeopardize its viability. So also, if companies are not very careful in spending, you know, it could also lead to issue, or they just spend anyhow, or they are not spending enough where they need to put money. It could also affect the viability of that company. You know, the operational risk, taking insufficient care with potential problem in operational process. It's what my friend in the oil company Total mentioned now. That is Nelson. You know, operation. You know, when you are getting the crude oil, are you taking care of the environment? Are you taking care of the people around you? All these questions, as communication officer, though it's not our domain, really, we need to find out, are they doing this? Why? Because the outcome of not doing all this will be on us. It will give us much work to do. For example, you see what happened. I know Nelson knew about Kensarowiwa that was killed. He was fighting for his people, Ogoni people, you know, and because of this, it spoiled the reputation of Total and all other oil companies in Nigeria during that period. So that is a very good example. Then strategic, not planning sufficiently for changes in the business environment. Talking about the external factor here now. So you are working and you are not planning well. All the strategies, communication, strategies about transportation, about logistics are not put in place. And things go in the wrong way. It will affect. The last one, you know, I highlighted that one. This is the key to us, reputational risk. Reputational risk. And one thing I see here, you know, all the risk number 1, types number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, if it happens, if you didn't control all this risk properly, it will lead to number 5. True or false? It will lead to number 5. Apology, let me put on just a minute. So I'm back. Apology. Yeah. So as I was saying, you know, the everything leads to another. So, and that repetition now, the risk is where we are in control as PR or communication experts, not taking account of organizational activities that expose it to the wrath of the customers and other stakeholders. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? And that is where we need to be very careful. So you must take note of all other risks, because if you're not compliant with the government regulation, if you have embezzlement and or not managing fund very well, operational risk, strategic risk, everything will lead to reputational risk damage. It will lead to reputational damage. And we have a big role to take on this. So as I'm speaking, in case you have a question or you have a comment, please, you can ask. You can also let me know. You can raise your hand. You can even interrupt me. This is a small class. You can interrupt me that you want to speak. You can also chat, send a chat on that. So we move now. Let's look at we now focus now. You can see, as I said, it's highlighted, is the key. Communicators tend to focus strongly on reputational risk, which are negative events that will diminish the opinions that stakeholders have on your organization, the opinion that the customers, the opinion that the public will have on your organization. Therefore, stakeholders' willingness to give their support. If this is not looked into properly, you can lose your stakeholders. You can look, which is stakeholders talking about the customers, the public that loves your products. So protecting and strengthening reputation is a key area in which to manage risk in your organization. You need to protect and strengthen your reputation. Is the key of what we do, as PR officers, as professional or communication officers. We need to be very, very, very careful and be very protective in this area. So I think it will lead me to looking at this advertisement. We're going to watch a video now. If a video, please, as I'm watching this video, I want you to take notes because you will tell me what you can see here. Let me see if I'm sharing, the audio. Sorry, I will stop here. Sorry, a minute. I want to be sure I'm sharing it. Okay, share the sound. Okay, yes. So are we ready? Watch it carefully, and later you tell me what about this. Is a new featuring a lady called Jennifer, the singer, appearing to bring a protest to an end by sharing Pepsi, and it has caused a lot of problems. So let's see what they have here.
That new Pepsi ad that is sparking a lot of outrage out there. Critics are calling it tone deaf, and ABC's Lindsay Davis is here with more. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning to you, Michael. 21-year-old Kendall Jenner is the first model to get a big Pepsi ad since Cindy Crawford in 1992. But that's being overshadowed online, where many are calling the ad tasteless, saying it takes advantage of serious issues and movements to sell soda. This morning, a new Pepsi ad is falling flat, getting a major backlash on social media. At the center of the controversial soft drink commercial, model and Kardashian sister Kendall Jenner, seen participating in a high-end photo shoot as the streets flood with political protesters. Some are calling out the scene for exploiting the Black Lives Matter movement. Jenner quickly ditches her high-fashion shoot to join the masses. The model then appears to bring an end to the protest just by sharing a Pepsi with a police officer. Pepsi says the ad is meant to be a short film about letting go and following your passions, an attempt to appeal to a younger demographic. But many are noting the similarity between the image of Jenner and the officer to this widely circulated photo of Black Lives Matter protester Aisha Evans when she approached police at a demonstration in Baton Rouge. Twitter erupted overnight with tweets like, "I've been studying commercials for 30 years. Kendall's Pepsi ad is legitimately the worst one I've ever seen." And how nice of Kendall Jenner to stop in the middle of her photo shoot to end social injustices by giving that cop a Pepsi. MLK who? Rosa who? The Pepsi is defending the ad, saying it reflects people from different walks of life coming together in a spirit of harmony. One tweet about the commercial that's getting thousands of likes and retweets is one that theorizes that this Pepsi ad is so bad it must actually be an ad for Coke.
Ouch.
But that's just one theory, guys.
Wow. All right, Lindsay, thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's bring in entertainment expert and former editor-in-chief of People magazine, Larry Hackett. Larry, this is, I mean, just crushing these responses online, and it really has just built up into quite a frenzy. What do you believe was Pepsi's initial intention for creating a commercial like
it seems it hung there.
Sorry, I think it's hanging. I'm trying to, okay, yes. I've been able to stop it now. But did you listen to anything or is giving you a problem? It must be, I don't know. Okay, so I think we just need to continue. In the course of it, did you listen to anything? Was it clear, the message?
Yeah, the message was clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is your reflection about this? Let me listen. Anybody?
I think it just reflected bad on the Pepsi brand because, you know, Black Lives Matter is a very sensitive issue when it comes to race in the Western, what is it called? The Western civilization, Western countries.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
race is a very sensitive topic. You see, someone had been killed. Was it Floyd or someone? Yeah, by being talk taxied by a white policeman. So, and you see, yeah, the repercussions. People are outraged, and then you take advantage of the situation, and then you go. Now the model is now giving soda to the police, who are seen as the cause of the problem. So you're actually going to refresh the people who are accused to be part of the system, which is seen as the problem. So yeah, it caused a lot of damage for Pepsi.
Thank you very much. It caused a lot of damage for Pepsi, you know, a reputational damage. I will share this video with you later so you can watch the comments, you know, of those people. I have another video. This one is more recent, and also it happens in Africa. It happens in Nigeria. Maybe you've heard about that before, where a company, a bank, you know, equating or comparing the resurrection of Jesus Christ, comparing it with a bread. You know, in Nigeria, we call something agege bread. Agege bread is a cheap bread. You know, we have such also in Kenya or in East Africa. There's some bread that are very expensive, you know, and it's classic. This bread is not, it's everywhere, but it's very, very sweet. People buy it a lot and it's cheap. And now they now say that Christ rose like agege bread. You can see the flame coming up there. You know, and Nigeria is a very sensitive country. Let's listen to this. Let's watch this and see the comments.
The advertising industry regulator APCON has said that Sterling Bank PLC will be sanctioned over a controversial Easter message where it likened the resurrection of Jesus Christ to agege bread. APCON said the distasteful advertisement was neither submitted nor approved for exposure by the Advertising Standard Panel ASP, the statutory panel charged with the responsibility of ensuring that advertisements conform with the prevailing laws of the Federation, as well as the Code of Ethics of Advertising in Nigeria. The bank, in celebration of Easter, shared a picture of a golden brown bread divided into two with a caption like agege bread, he rose. Agege bread is a popular Nigerian bread known for its soft, stretchy, and chewy texture.
Hello, hope you enjoyed the news. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So you see that one, you know, Nigeria, I know some other African countries, we are very religious, two of us. So we are very religious, and the company now comparing the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ to be, I mean, like agege bread. It cost a lot. Many people went to that bank to close their account. A lot of people. You can see this now. The type of the risk here is the compliance risk. Even when they said that those people, they didn't go to the advertising regulatory body in Nigeria before they pull it up. And now it destroyed the reputation, which it is the responsibility of the PR, the communication officer, to clean. Do you understand this now? I don't know if you have seen any type of example like this in your country, in Uganda or in Tanzania or any part of East African country or Kenya. Any example you want to give? And I've given you about two, the world one, I mean the global one, Pepsi, the soda, and also another one in Nigeria about a particular bank. Any other example? Any?
Yeah, yes, yeah. There was a case, similar case also. I think it was Kenya about adverts of. It was during Islamic festivity of Ramadan when we finished Ramadan, and there was a company using tissue paper, and tissue paper and Muslim, they don't go together.
Yeah.
So they advertise, saying Mubarak, sending their message of goodwill through the tissue. So and that one now have led a lot of anger among the Muslim communities. Yeah, feeling that was now abusing them, associating Ramadan and Eid festivity with something like tissue paper, with some other domains used for their toilet cleaning. So it was really
imagine.
They meant it for good, I think, for good intention, but it backfired, like this one, agege bread.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Agege bread sincerely is a good intention, but if they have consulted their stakeholders, the customers, and maybe they've done a kind of a survey before they roll it out, or they have gone for approval, maybe a third eye must have seen that, and it will have been prevented in the beginning. And it's also the one you mentioned in Uganda. So as communication officers, we have big responsibilities, to be able to be a watchdog, make sure that the compliance, financial compliance, the government regulatory body, and everything, is taken care of. So thank you very much. If there's no other example, let's just move on to the next thing here. So let's talk about management now. How do we manage risk? We've looked at how we can analyze this, how we can see risk, types of risk. Then it is important, very, very important to manage, and also important communication activities. So you can minimize the impact of potential problems and are not caught, so that you will not be caught completely by surprise if something goes badly wrong. Management of risk in your communication is essential to include all levels of planning. You need to plan all levels of planning in risk management, because if you don't look at that risk before time, if it comes, it can affect the organization badly. So risk are part of corporate life. You should be alert to corporate and operational risk, because communication may be needed to address the problem when they arise. I mentioned that. So as a communication officers, when they refuse to follow the instructions, they refuse to, they fail to contact you to guide them. If the problem comes, communication is needed to clear the entire thing. Look at the Pepsi, look at the agege bread, look at the Muslim community in Uganda. Communication officers, we need to come, bring out a lot of campaign, a lot of advertisement on all media, both traditional media and social media, so that you can clean the mess that has happened. So risk management comprises the culture, the process, and the structure for effectively management potential opportunity and the adverse effects. So we have that responsibility. So now let's move on and see. As a result of this, in project management, the risk management process are this. Number one, you should be able to identify the potential opportunity from risk. And at times, if risk comes also, it brings opportunity. For example, some of you, if the Ayodele bread has not happened, you may not even have known about Sterling Bank. Some people, they may not even know. As a result, it can bring it to limelight anyway. And if the risk is properly managed, it can turn to be advantage to that organization. So you must be able to see how you can turn that difficulty or that mess into a profit for your organization. So as a result, basically, risk management is intended to answer these three questions. When you are doing any project, you'll be able to ask yourself, what can go wrong? What is the likelihood and the impact of something going wrong? And the third one is, what can we do about it? In anything you do. For example, as this class is going, there's risk. I look at it, what can go wrong? For example, this class, is very early in my country, very early in the morning. What I have to do, and I know that my network at home is not that good. So I have to come to the campus. I have an accommodation on campus. I have to sleep over on campus, my university, overnight, so that early in the morning I will be in my accommodation on campus, so that nothing will go wrong. Things can go wrong. Electricity can go. In Nigeria, electricity is not that stable. But on campus, we always have regular electricity. And apart from that, the internet service may be very bad. Especially, there was a time I used my phone to do the internet. Calls were coming in. It was disrupting the discussion. I had to go for a better internet service that will not stop. So these are the risks that you need to know. What can go wrong? What is the likelihood or the impact of something going wrong? And what can we do about it? You find solution. And even after finding the solution and it happens, it will not meet you. It will not be a surprise to you, because you have thought about it. You have consulted, you have envisaged that something may go wrong. So if it goes wrong, you will not be panicking. You will not be shivering. So you can quickly control yourself. That's the reason why you drive, I say, oh, use seat belt. Make sure you don't take calls when you're on call. Instead, you can use this MP3 normally put on the ear, so that when you are traveling, you won't be picking your calls. All these are risk factors you check. And also in communication, you want to have a press conference. You know that, oh, you need a very beautiful place, a good restaurant. At the end, you provide something for these people. I know also in your country they have brown paper. What do you give to these people at the end for their transportation? You're not bribing them, transportation. And they've done the thing, and you didn't give them anything. It won't be okay. Next time when you call them, they will not come. Yeah. So I have some comments I can see here. Victoria said the ad is so bad, it must be coaxed. So that is from Victoria. A comment from Ado, not negative. Okay, yeah, I've read that comment before. So as the class is going, you can bring a comment. You can raise your hand. You want to add a point, or you want to ask question. Okay. So this is the class. It's not. It's a lecture anyway, but yet it's not one-man show. It's not only for lecturer, because all of us are coming here with some ideas, with some knowledge. We don't have tabula rasa. We don't have empty mind. We are all experienced. So please, as I'm teaching, if you have a point to add, or you have a question to add in support of what I'm saying, please, you can do that. So we move on. As I said, not all these three questions: what can go wrong? What is the likelihood and impact of something going wrong? And what can we do about it? So let's see, how do we control the control of risk? In public relation practice and communication management, control of risk is especially relevant to activities like a major event. These are the things. You want to have a major event, you must find a way how you can control the risk there. Event like a product launch, event like meeting the customers, and so on and so forth. Then also in the issue and crisis prevention and minimization. So when crisis has come, or to prevent it, they will call on communication officer. This thing has happened. How can we control it? Or how can we minimize it? So we have big responsibility to do this. Then new product launches. I mentioned that earlier. When you are having new products, communication officers or PR departments, they have each role to take here. They have responsibility. Then issue of reputation building. Reputation that has been spoiled or that is not there at all. We have the responsibility, to do this. And when we are doing all this, we must be very careful, in looking at the risk involved, because you are also cleaning the mess. Another mess can also come, your way. So you need to be very careful. Sponsored events. When you have sponsored events, it is very important you take note of the finance. You take note of the color combination. For example, now if you are doing events for Safaricom, you find out what kind of color combination they have. Instead of you using color, I think Safaricom has is it red? I want to remember red. You make sure that the color is there, color combination. The advertisements are there correctly. The language used is very, very important. Not harsh language, not language that can put communities, cause problem in communities. Like in Africa, we are very sensitive about our community, our tribes. You will not do something that will cause the other communities, for example, maybe other tribes, like Kikuyu against the other tribes. All the tribes in Kenya, they are known for a particular thing, and you are now hammering that, in your advertisement. The Kikuyu against the Leo and some other things like that. It is very, very important you are sensitive to the cultural background of that community. Then issue of social media campaigns. That one also, it can easily go bad if care is not taken. That's the reason why a PR organization, you must have a very strong social media presence. Your presence on social media is very important. They may be saying something bad about your organization online. How do you respond? Don't just keep quiet. You respond. Somebody has abused the organization, they have said something negative. What do you do about that? Let me even ask you. Maybe on your Facebook, they have lashed, they have spoiled the name of your organization. What do you do? Let me listen to you here. Social media campaigns, and it has gone wrong, and people are lashing your organization, and they are bringing negative comments. Grace and Howard, yeah, let's listen to you on this. Hello.
Hi, so maybe I can say for that, you see the comments that just to get I want to make sure I've gotten your question right. So is it the say I've done the campaign, or is it something that's being said negatively about the organization?
Both. Maybe you have done campaign and the people are acting negatively, or people are saying negative about your organization. How will you react to that?
Okay, in the case of it's a campaign that has gone wrong, you can take down those posts that you initially did, and then you can issue an apology, public apology on social media, also a statement, if need be, to the people or stakeholders who feel they've been offended.
Yeah, that's a very good one. You can take down. When you take down, you replace with another thing that is correct. Yeah, and if you feel that you are right, there's a way also to be able to correct that, but don't say that people are they are bringing bad comments and you start deleting those comments. No, don't do that immediately. Respond to the comments, even if you want to take it down. So, let me read. That's Ado. Yes, I'm speaking now. Ado also make a comment, say the repetition or acceptance of the sponsoring organization by the targeted audience. Yes, it is the key. For example, maybe a Christian organization now, you have a program and you are now inviting a Muslim organization to come and donate money to you. No, it's not a good one. It's not a good to spoil your reputation. So any other comment? Yeah, okay, yeah, somebody is raising hand. Yeah, you can go ahead. That is who is that? Yes, go ahead.
I just had a question. I think we've discussed this before. Maybe what's your take on it? Sometimes you put up a campaign or a post online, and rightfully so, you're right. But now people seem to think that you're not. So how do you address that as a brand or as an organization? Because sometimes people can be offended, and from your research or from your due diligence, it shouldn't be offensive. So how do you cater for a small group of people, even
People are
though
offended.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Grace. Thank you very much, Grace. It is a big one. You cannot please everybody. You know that you cannot. But as much as possible, try to please everybody, because that singular maybe 2% or 10% customers that are saying no, they can really dilute your organizational reputation negatively. So that's the reason why, as much as possible, make sure you do. We'll still talk about that. A survey, a pre-launch survey, to know how people will be accepting this. And if you need to remove that some elements, that can tarnishing the reputation of a particular community, please do. Because if damage is done, to be able to clean that damages may take a long time. Are you getting me now? So as much as possible, do your due diligence very well. Do your own part very well, and if eventually, after you have done everything, there's still something or some comments that is coming, you can just find a way of addressing that personally. You can even chat with those people privately, to solve that. It doesn't mean you will not even drop your advert because of that, but listen to them. Especially the minority voice. You may think they are minority, and especially the power of social media is very strong nowadays. They can just be causing nuisance, and they're causing problem for your organization. So as much as possible, try to address that. So that is how I'm going to respond to that. I don't know if you are satisfied or any other person want to support or add to my submission of that. Grace, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think I agree. And I appreciate the fact that this our profession is some things you just learn on the go. It's an ongoing basis. So, but it's good to note that you have to also take care of the ones that are even one or two that are not satisfied, even if it means to sort of like reach out to them personally. So yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. So we move on, and trust. It goes to the issue of trust strengthening. As I said, when a reputation is damaged, the first thing that will be lost is trust. People may not trust your organization. So as PR professionals, communication officers, we have big role to take. So let's try to work with the team to make sure that things are not taken for granted. And with that, we can move on. So now let's look at the other one. These are the disruptive forces. And I see 11 of them here, disruptive forces that can affect your organization. You can see that chart, like the organization, 11 sources of disruptive, every company must monitor. as you are helping in the risk management of the organization, you look at all this. You can see technology is in the middle, talking about education, the wealth distribution, the media, telecommunication, environment. We talk about this a lot. When you are doing your advertisement or your campaign, you put environment in order. Education, what is the level of education of these people? And looking at the infrastructure, the government, you're talking about the compliance risk. You must follow the policy of the government, and what of the geopolitical, economy, public health, demographics, the male and female, who are more, do they have the younger generation? So your advertisement or whatever you do, you must take care of all this, because all these forces around can affect your organization, and they are potential risk factor, in achieving the goals of your projects, in your organization. So you need to monitor this, when you are planning. And you can see even media and communication is very, very important. What kind of communication model are they really familiar with in this organization? Let me give you an example. For example, you are reaching the people in the rural area with your advertisement, and what you are doing, go to our website. That's the only thing. You are only providing the if version of your things. You are not printing out, or that the level of the education, they cannot speak English. They can only speak their dialect and the Swahili. And you make sure that you have your products or your advertisement in both, or you want to go and address them. You make sure you know the kind of language they can understand. What about the issue of public health? Public health, you are going to environment, and you know that during that period is the COVID-19 era. You're not providing the wash hand, you're not giving them the nose mask and so on. So you must, because this one can also affect the reputation of your organization. So you can see they are all there, and these are the factors which you need to be watchful of. Now, let's look at the steps. What are the steps you need to take in risk management? The first one is that you must be able to establish the context. In what context? Let me move a minute. So they are all there. So I will just list them first. Establish the context, identify the risk, analyze the risk, evaluate the risk, then establish a risk register, treat the risk, monitor and review. Then the last one is communicate and consult. So we pick this one after the other. So when you are managing risk, you should create time to identify the key stakeholders. That's a question from Maria. If you look at the key stakeholders, even the minor one, you will be able to know that, you will not offend these people. So risk management activities are more likely to be successful when internal and external stakeholders understand others' perspective and they are actively involved in decision making. The stakeholders, your customers, the sellers, the buyers, the shareholders, they are consulted, and you make sure they are actively involved in decision making. You will not have problem. Even if there's problem, they will also know, they've told us before now. Why didn't we see this? It should not be like much negative, because you have carried your stakeholders along. This is very, very important way to set the foundation for the management of risk in your communication planning. So you must be able to establish the context. You need to identify the stakeholders, both the internal and external stakeholders, and also you carry them along as you are making your decision. By so doing, you will not have difficulty. That's number one. And all this process goes, you cannot jump one. So the second process, which you need to be very careful with, is the issue of identify the risk. So you conduct the risk audit. You know, you question suppliers, subcontractors, many of whom have direct experience or dealings with the types of risk in the organizational facing. You know, perform risk stakeholders analysis. So many risks arise from the requirements of stakeholders. So you need to do a survey, you need to do interview. Both the qualitative and quantitative survey can be done, analysis. You know, you can observe, what if they have this? You can also study from the previous one, we'll get there, the previous accounts, the organization that are similar to yours in another country, or another community. You find out what are the risks they have met before. So all this will help you to be able to identify. You list them. Now, that is the listing. After identifying those risks, you need to, to list them and start analyzing. You look at how, is it low risk or medium risk or very high risk? There's calculation to this, which we are going to go into that now. You know, analyzing the risk, is about developing an understanding of that risk. The adequacy of existing risk management strategies, if any, should be reviewed in this step. Here is an example of risk analysis that you can do. For example, for a sponsored road race, for example, you are a communication officer working with a sports and youth organization in your country, and you are planning a road race, maybe a marathon. So let's give example how you can analyze the risk. Number one, as I said, these are the key. You look at the low, middle, or high. Are you with me, everybody? Say hello. I want to hear your voice.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Are you with me, or is becoming dull? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly. Yeah. So I want to be very sure we are not sleeping, or we are not in the kitchen or in the bathroom. So let's move on. So we want to make analysis now of risk. This is an example. As I said, that imagine that you are the communication officer or PR officer for the Ministry of Sports and Youth and Sports, and you are doing a road race. So the first thing, you need to list some of the possible risks. Number one, bad publicity can be one. Number two, you can say that event cancellation. What if the event is cancelled? Then number three, you can say spectators' injuries. Which other thing can you also envisage where you are organizing a road trip? We have mentioned bad publicity, event cancellation. They say, oh, the event is cancelled. What can cause it? Then spectators' injuries. Yes. Which other one?
Maybe a bad weather.
Bad weather. Thank you very much. Bad weather, yeah, could be injury of the participant also. People that are on the race is there as well. Which other one? One more. So, well, let's see how you can analyze it. It could be any, and you can apply this analysis to anything. Maybe you want to have a press conference, maybe equipment gets damaged and so on. But I'm using road race now. Look at bad weather. The possibility, bad publicity. The publicity is 1. You know, you put 1 here. It is on a scale 1 to 10. 1 to 4 is low, is around low. Let's say 1 to 4 or 1 to 3. Then about 4 to 7 or 4 to 6 is medium. Then about 7 to 10 is high. Are you getting me now? So now for bad publicity, because you are the communication officer, you believe that it may be low. You have done your best. You put 1 there. You know, the impact, if anything go wrong about publicity, is 6. That is, you put it in medium. And as a result, you now, to get the rating, you now say which is P times I, which is the impact, it becomes 6. Do you get this calculation? Which is 1 times 6 is 6. Are you with me?
Please come again.
Okay, yeah. So, you are looking at it, what is probability that bad publicity can affect your program? Is you put 1, maybe because you believe that you have spent money on bad publicity. You put money, 1 there. But now, if there is no good publicity, what is the impact? You are saying medium, because 1, maybe people will not attend, and so on. You feel that, it's 6. You can also say, it's 9. You can make it 9. But here we are saying it's 6. That, the impact of bad publicity on our program is medium, is 6. So for you to know the rating of publicity, bad publicity on your events, you now say that P times I, which is the probability times impact, that is 6. So as a result, the probability or the effect of bad publicity on your event is 6, is medium. So we now look at the solution. As a result, you need to develop communication strategy and ongoing media liaison before, during, and after the event. That is the solution, which I have put down. In another way, let me give you an example. If you feel that bad publicity is 3, which is still medium, is low, is 3, you put it 3 here. And the impact, if it happens, is 9, which is very high. 3 times 9. 3 times 9 is what? That should be
27.
27. Yeah. So 27 will now be here, which is very, very high. It is very rating. So you must be very careful, in making sure that you put effort, that publicity must not cause problem for this work. Now, let's look at the issue of event cancellation. The possibility that, the event will be cancelled. The possibility, you can say maybe 2, though we put 1 here, 2. And if it happens, the impact could be, let's say, 7 or 8. If it's 8, is low, it's high. So you times it, you'll be able to get the impact. It could be medium also. But now here, it is medium because 1 times 5 is 5. So careful planning, you now write something. Careful planning and ongoing liaison with stakeholders is the key, so that it will not be cancelled. You need to find out about the government public holidays. Is any event going to happen there, so that you will not cancel your events? Then the other one also is the issue of spectators' injuries. The tendency that the spectators may be injured, it's 1, it's low here, and also the impact may be very, very high, as we see here. That is 10. As a result, you can say 1 times 10 is 10. So what you need to do is that you need to make sure that you have enough security guards, people that we have the track being isolated. Then also you work with the local council and also the police, so they can control crowd for you. So this simple analysis can be applied to anything. They just have in mind that we can have the low, the medium, and also the high. So, and when you have this table and you look at the possible risk, you can list them, you brainstorm. You can brainstorm, you can look at the previous events by your organization or by other organizations similar to yours. You'll be able to list as many risks as possible. Then you now do all this. You can discuss, is it very high? This, not only you bring people together to be able to do this. As a result, you now look at the possibility. Now, the purpose of this is this: in case there is spectators' injuries, because you have listed the solution, it will not meet you unaware, and it may not even happen at all because of the precaution, because of what we have put in place. Do you get me, sir? Amas? Do you understand this? Hello?
Hello, it's clear.
Okay. So
I
I
have a
know.
question.
Okay, ask please.
For the, how do you decide like now the list? Do you just analyze it and, or is there like an extra parameter to, for instance, know that, oh, if a spectator is injured, now that's 1 and the impact is 10. How do you get the
Determine
number?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The number, as I said, the parameter is 1 to 10. You know, you can form your own. You know, it's a qualitative, not quantitative one. So you know, you can determine that, oh, from 0 to 3 is low. From 4 to 7 is high. No, to 6 is high. I mean, it's medium, which is medium. Then from 8 to 10 is high. So you have formed your parameter already. Now, assigning these parameters, this numbering to probability impact is now determined on your experience. You may say that, oh, injury of the participants, you can say that it's not low, it could be 7. You get what I'm saying now? It's 7 because you know that definitely the participants, I mean the people that are running may get injured. You can say, oh, the impact, if it happens, it could be very high. You know, the impact, the probability of it happening, you can say it is 2. If it happens, oh, it could be 5. As a result, when you times 2 times 5, it's become 10. So it means it's very high, and you put much measure in preventing this. So as I said, it's quantitative, no qualitative, and no qualitative. You know, you have determination to be able to put your parameter on your own. Yeah. So do you understand that? Is that Maria that's asked that question? Is it Maria who has a question?
It's Grace, eh? And
Grace. Grace Kinuara. Kianara. Yeah, thank you. I like that. Yeah. What is the meaning of that name?
It means contentment.
Contentment. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. So you must be a very, very contented person. That's good. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's move on. We've done this analysis. Let's go to the next one because our time is running, so that you can have time for questions. Then after having done that, then you evaluate. Oh, we've done this. Evaluate the risk. You know, we've analyzed this evaluation. Conducting risk evaluation enables you to make decisions based on the outcome of the risk analysis about which risk needs responses. The list of possible risks can be set in priority order according to their rating. In a similar way, the rating calculated in the above, you can see that last line is like you are evaluating. After evaluating, you now list, oh, this one is very high. You put resources, you put every plan so that that risk will not happen. The lower one, you may not even look at it much, but yet you need to be very, very careful because even the one that has minimum can also spoil the entire show. So it's very, very important. Do you understand this now? We've talked about, number 1, we look at the issue of identifying, establishing the context. Number 2, identifying the risk. Number 3, analyzing the risk. And I show you the way you can analyze. Then number 4 is to evaluate. There are all steps which you need to take from one step to another. Then the other one is that to establish a risk register. Risk exists in all projects. Don't skip the risk management process. Failure to identify and document risk will end up killing the project. So you need to write all these things down, document. And that document should be given to all participants. No, I don't need the participant. I mean the people in the organization to know, you know, and it should be well documented because you will refer to it when you have a similar project again. Then the last one, is it the last? Is that the last? Yeah, is the issue of Okay, before we go to that, let's look at what are the things you document. The dates, the description of the risk type, the type of the risk, the likelihood of occurrence, the severity of the impact, how severe the impact is going to be there, the counter measures, then the ownership, which organization, which unit, which department owns that project, the status, whether the project is ongoing or the project is near completion or the project is about to start or the project has completed. So these are the things you need to notice in your risk register. So then let's look at the threats. I mean, how to treat the risk, the treatment of the risk. How do you treat risk? Potential risk can be treated and controlled, so that you can reduce the likelihood. So you need to treat it. And the purpose is that you want to reduce the likelihood, you want to reduce the impact, or you want to transfer the risk, through insurance. For example, now, after you have identified, this is the risk. These people can get injured, the spectators. What have you done on that one? You look for security agents. You look at for the first aid, the Red Cross. You are paramedics. You get them involved to be available. So that's the way you are treating that risk, so that you can reduce the likelihood, by getting the police. Are you getting me now? So for when you get the paramedics and the Red Cross, we want to reduce the impact in case it happens. Then another one also, you go ahead, you can also insure. Insurance can be available. You pay insurance. It happens when we buy a car. Our car, we need to do comprehensive insurance. In case we are not praying that your car will get accident. In case it gets accident, what do? The insurance can buy you another one. In case there's accident, you use your seat belt so that the impact of your accident, you not smash your head on the windscreen. This just put that in mind. You understand what I'm trying to say now. Then the other one is to accept the risk in case it happens. Then avoid as much as possible in treatment of the risk. You are trying to avoid that risk. Avoidance of risk. So these are the way to treat risk. Yeah. Then it is important also to monitor and review the documentation you have done. Few risks remain stationary. They are all there. Changing circumstances require close monitoring. Potential risk can be monitored and reviewed through the following. Number one, checking the record of any past and present claims against the organization. You need to look at the historical risk management of the organization. Maybe you are new. You need to find out what has happened before, how was it addressed, does insurance get involved, and so on. Then after that, you also need to be doing what is called internal and external audit reporting. You need to, from time to time, to check, to audit. Oh, this has happened. We use this method. Did it work? What if it didn't work? What should we do? What has another organization did? All this can be found online. You can even call this organization to guide you on what to do. Then you also need to progress. You need to document and monitor the progress of the risk management plan. If there's need for you to change anything or to update any record, you need to update. So if you do this monitoring and review, I assure you that you can prevent the risk. And even if it happens, you can limit or reduce the impact that risk can have on your organization. And the last one is the issue of communication and consult. So communication and consultation should be involved in every step because of the value resulting from being aware of stakeholders' point of view. So, because if you are doing all this and you are not communicating, you are not addressing, you are not informing the stakeholders, you will not get it. Informing even the internal people, the authority that are involved. They will not give you even support. So from time to time, you need to be updating, you need to be carrying along the stakeholders. You ensure that stakeholders are adequately informed and they have the opportunity for input into your risk management plan. The stakeholders, the first one is the managers, the managerial or the board of your organization, the leadership. As you are planning, let them know, oh, this is happening. Inform them from time to time through memo, through emails. So with that, when you are requesting for support, maybe financial support or resources, they will not say that they are not aware. And also your stakeholders, also the customers, those people that are involved, maybe the sponsors should also be carried along. So, and can act to treat aspects of the risk applicable to them. Yeah, providing fund, the stakeholders, the funders, and so on and so forth. So it is very, very key to communicate. So let's look at the common mistakes in risk management plan. So easy to treat risk may be dealt with, while difficult risk remain untreated. Organizers rely too heavily on insurance and action by third party who can't fully relied upon. So plans are not amended as current risk change. So that's I mentioned that as you are working, you need to be amending, to be updating, so that you'll be looking at the new risk, the old risk. Old risk need to be removed and look at the new risk. So you can't say that, oh, you want to use the template of about 20 years ago. Now, in planning maybe a press release, that you need to take, you need to put into consideration the bloggers. Bloggers are their risk also. They can turn your information in another way around. You need to also to take care of them, ask them to come, educate them about your products. So it is very, very important. You don't just overlook a particular stakeholders. No, you must put them into consideration all the time. So we look at this. I think we've talked about this along the way. Roles of PR in risk management is very, very important. We are forecasting potential negative trends. We crafting of products, campaign, project issues, and so we are very, very important. PR professionals in doing this. So you can see. Then what are the benefits? What are the benefits of risk management? We've discussed all this, but I want you to also be involved now. Let's talk about number one. I want somebody to explain number one to us. The likelihood of unpleasant and costly surprises is reduced. What do we mean by that? When we are involved in risk management? Yes, let's listen. I want to explain that, maybe with examples. Or yes, Makandi, Dicey, over to you. How is this a benefit? The likelihood of unpleasant and costly surprises reduced. Yes, thank you. Makandi, are you there? Each one of us will say one. And number one, Makandi, explain that. Number two, Nelson, say something on number two. Number three, resource allocation. Howard, I want to hear from you. Then the next one, compliance, Grace. And the last one, Ado, we'll talk about the last one. Over to you. Let's listen.
You want me to talk about number one, the likelihood of unpleasant and costly surprises? Yes. When you, for example, the people who have insured the marathon, because they've gotten insurance in case of an accident, in case of any event that would, in other words, they would have to pay for, the insurance covers it, which has them. It reduces, it helps their reputation. At the end of the day, it's good for their company. Thank you.
So thank you very much for that. So we are very, very important. The PR, the commission officers, we are the one trying to preventing unpleasant or costly surprises. Number two. That should be, is it Nelson or anybody? You can just unmute and say something on your own. Are we still here? Ado, I want to listen to you. Grace?
Okay, yes. Mine was number last.
Okay, say it,
right.
yes.
Anywhere, anyone. Okay, and I think you give me the last one, which is helping low insurance cost as requirement for additional cover become better. Yeah, this is benefit because when you reduce the cost of insurance to the project implementation, then that means you will save some money so that you can do or reallocate into better purposes within the project. So instead of buying insurance and then having to use a lot of money and you know, mostly some of the, after you do your auditing of the risk, you may know that there may be and the possibility of needing insurance for that project is minimum. So that's the benefit of it, as I understood. Yes.
You get it. You get it. You know, resources are very limited. Anywhere, even in Total, where Nelson is working, resources are limited. So as much as possible, we want to limit how much we pay to insurance. So if you have done a proper analysis of your risk, you know, it will help you to be able to see that, oh, this one we can solve this way. You don't need insurance and so on. So it can reduce insurance input of that. Yes, the next person.
I think you had given me compliance with the regulatory requirements.
Yes, Grace, go ahead.
I think it's very crucial, and I feel like sometimes the organization fall short on this, especially in these African countries where regulations change overnight. For instance, in Kenya, you can get especially these issues of environment and NEMA, which is our regulatory organization in Kenya. They implement these things overnight and maybe through a press statement or through a Twitter post. So you can fall at risk of that. And the police are very swift into coming. For instance, yesterday they degazetted all the clubs operating in residential areas. And they were very strategic on it because it came at around on a Friday afternoon, and they knew clubs are going to be operating. So I think being vigilant on such things, it's a key benefit of risk management, so that now you are at par with whatever might be happening regulation-wise, and so you remain compliant, or you're able to give feedback on some of these regulations.
Yeah, a very good one. You know, compliance is a key. As I mentioned, you know, everything that the organization did wrong or will be doing wrong, we always come back to the PR officers. Yeah, as a result, we need to monitor and make sure that they do the right thing always. Thank you very much, Grace, for that. Next person.
Yeah. I'll speak on better performance of communication programs and projects. So, yeah, so this one, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I'll bother to explain. So when you covered all your bases, when you look at the steps in risk management, so you've identified, analyzed, you've evaluated, and established a risk register, and now you've treated the risk. I think you've covered all the bases. You've asked yourself what could go wrong, and you've come up with measurements or ways to mitigate those problems. So it will make your work easier when you're now running the programs or the projects that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is it Howard?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Is there another person that has not spoken? But Candy, Nakandi, are you there? Yeah. Nakandi. Well, in conclusion, you can see cyber risk is one of the fastest growing, with even more than 50% now arising from the insider threats. You know, I mentioned that the behavior of the employee on social media is very, very important. Some people, you know, it has happened before that they were sacked because of what they posted on social media. Because whatever you do, everybody is watching you. Oh, he's a lecturer at the University of Ibadan. He's a lecturer at the Makerere University, and he has done this. It can tarnish the name of an organization. Oh, he's a marketer with Safaricom. So all this, so it is very, very important. So cyber risk is there, and we need to be very careful. Thank you very much, everyone. This is the end of the class. Thank you very much. Been a very wonderful students, you know, contributing well. Yeah, as my culture, I would like you, I mean, one or two people to tell me, have you taken any lesson today? Have you gained anything today? Yeah, what have you gained from this lesson today? What is new that you are taking away? Yeah, volunteer. You don't volunteer. Okay, good. Howard.
Okay, so I can say, okay, for me, this class, you know, when it comes to communications, we usually sometimes come up with projects and do them haphazardly. Just in our professions, we say we are going to have this campaign, we're going to do this and that, but we don't actually consider any risks, or if we actually consider risks, they come from the top of our mind. It's not something we've thought about critically. So yeah, so I think now at least I'll be more professional when it comes to coming up with things like a risk register. That's something I've not done before. If I would think about risk, it's just something I've considered maybe in a meeting with the staff members of the team, but not really taken it very keenly. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, it will help me professionally from now henceforth.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you for at least you've taken something away. And I think it's everybody, sincerely, we don't care about risk. Even at home, we have risk also. How many of you have fire extinguisher at home in your kitchen? Fire extinguisher. How many of us? You know, but in our car, because we are being forced to do that, we put it in our car, but we also put it at home. Anything can happen. So what do you do? First aid. How many of us have first aid box with bandage and some other things? Paracetamol and so on. We should do this. So let me listen to another person, a lady this time, anybody, maybe a female, let's be gender sensitive. What are you taking away from this lecture today?
I can represent the ladies.
Okay. Yeah.
I think two things. The initial one that you asked us to consider doing a project management course. I think planning to follow up on that. I now know that it's crucial. You know, in organizations, you just know yourself as the communications officer and there is a project manager somewhere. So I think I've been implored to sort of take up that and see other aspects of management. I mean, project management other than risk. Number two, of course, it's what Howard has said about the risk register. Incorporating it in projects and campaigns, I think it's very crucial. And also what you've said about always keeping your the board, your bosses at par with whatever you're doing, so that at least you're able to gain from them when you need help. So that's what I've taken away.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, there's a lot of risk management courses. Even I will send you a link. There's one that there will be information about it next by by December. Just information. The training will start by January. So in case you are interested, and it is a virtual training, so which is possible anywhere you are. You can also be part of that. So